I think it's just like kind of a learning process, and it goes back to like even my shot thing. Like it's just time and score and understanding. I think that's like where I can still, yes, like maybe it could have been there. Like maybe you could have thrown a little bit better of a pass. Maybe they could have caught it, but like, do we need that in this moment? Like, no.
Right.
And then she subbed me back in.
Brand of basketball that we haven't really seen in the women's game. When Steph Curry made his splash and did his whole thing and took over the NBA and there was this Steph craze, it was because
the WNBA spent the entire offseason building its biggest year yet around one name, Caitlin Clark. But now, that whole plan might be collapsing. She's missed 19 of 32 games. The coach keeps saying there's no timetable for her return, and ticket prices are crashing by over 70% without her. What happens to the league when its marketing engine, ratings driver, and top draw is suddenly gone? Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great! Thank you so much. Now, back to the video. Everyone's talking about Caitlin Clark missing more games, but here's the thing, this isn't your standard injury story. It's not just she'll be back in a couple of weeks. She's already missed 19 of 32 games, and the injuries keeping her out aren't random one-off knocks. We're talking repeated quad and groin problems, and if you've followed sports long enough, you know those soft tissue issues can be a nightmare. They linger. They flare up. And in this case, it's been happening over and over. You can tell it's serious because of how vague the team's been. Coach Stephanie White keeps sticking to the same line, there's no timetable for her return. That's not just one press conference either.
Kind of improve. Like, do we really need that like sequence of a game? Like, have we just scored twice, or have we just missed 2 shots in a row? Yes, like maybe it could have been there. Like maybe you could have thrown a little bit better of a pass. Maybe they could have caught it, but like, do we need that in this moment? Like, no.
Right.
And then she subbed me back in.
that actually looked like it could have been a wide open pass. And it's something that Caitlin, the things that fans love the most about Caitlin, be coached out of her.
It's been said again and again, week after week. And that choice of words tells you everything, that they don't even want to hint at a comeback date because they have no idea when she'll be able to fully go again. Now, here's the part that makes it even stranger. Reporters say Clark has been able to do full court running, and the Fever point to that as a sign of progress. But think about it, running in a straight line is miles away from handling the physical chaos of a game. It's one thing to jog or even sprint in drills. It's totally different to explode into a cut, stop on a dime, or take a hit while twisting to the rim. She still hasn't joined practice. At all. That gap between light workouts and actual competitive play is huge. When you look at how other leagues handle stuff like this, the difference is wild. In the NBA, they'll list an injury, say it's a grade 2 strain, give you the expected recovery window, and then update every couple of days. NFL teams have to put out practice participation reports daily. But here,
I can't even lie, this clip bothered me because if you watch that play where she didn't pass Kelsey the ball after
I started the fourth quarter off with like 3 turnovers in a row or 2 turnovers in a row, and Steph yanked me, and she was like this is like a learning moment. Like, you got to be able to like, I think it's just like kind of a learning process, and it goes back to like even my shot thing. Like, it's just time and score and understanding. I think that's like where I can still
talk to her about her shot selection and different things, and I've definitely been giving the benefit of the doubt.
the Fever's updates are basically a guessing game. Fans, media, even opposing teams are left to connect the dots themselves, and those dots aren't pointing toward her being back anytime soon. It's kind of like if you're shooting a massive summer blockbuster. You've got this star actor the whole movie is built around. Cameras start rolling, and halfway through filming, they're gone. Nobody says when or if they're returning. They just tell you the actor's doing some rehearsals and expect you to believe things are fine. Meanwhile, producers are rewriting scripts, rescheduling shoots, and trying to figure out if they have to replace them entirely. That's the Indiana Fever right now, but the set they're on is the WNBA season. And the fallout reaches way beyond just one team.
Her turnovers and how Coach Stephanie White has been coaching her when it comes to that.
But I think that's And there's a play where I kind of got a steal and like we're going in transition and Kelsey Mitchell just like takes off down the middle of the floor. And so there's like 2 people kind of by her. And I literally like go to grab the ball. And then I like
Coach Stephanie White benched her for having a few turnovers in a row. That would have been a momentum shift in the game. It might just happen sometimes with Caitlin because that's the style and the brand of basketball that Caitlin plays. And to be honest,
Fans who bought tickets specifically to see Clark are panicking, especially when those resale ticket prices crash. TV networks that lined up primetime Clark games are left with broadcasts missing the league's most marketable player. Even scheduling around the rest of the teams changes, because Clark games aren't just games, they're events. And if those events suddenly disappear, the marketing calendar takes a huge hit. The signs that the Fever are preparing for a long-term absence are already there. Just look at the roster move they made, signing Odyssey Sims to a hardship contract.
Even been something like me and Steph have like always talk about when we go and watch film, and even like that New York game where like I played really, really well.
Brand of basketball that we haven't really seen in the women's game. When Steph Curry made his splash and did his whole thing and took over the NBA and there was this Steph craze, it was because
you don't understand how hard it was for me to not throw that. And she's like, oh, I know, trust me. Everybody was like, we saw you about to throw that. But
this entire season, I just would hate to see some of the things that make Caitlin Caitlin.
They wouldn't pull in a veteran guard with that much experience unless they knew they'd need serious backcourt help. It's not a short-term patch. You only go that route when you expect your main piece to be out for much longer than anyone's publicly admitting. So now, the question isn't just when will Caitlin Clark come back? It's how does the WNBA move forward without the player they've built this entire season around? Because the league hasn't just been leaning on her star power, it's been depending on it. The Fever need to figure out how to win games. The league needs to keep fans watching.
Obviously scored a lot of points. I think I had 9 assists or 10 assists that game. This just this last game this year. Just dribble out. And I like literally just start smiling so big. And I look at Steph and I like told her after the game.
That better be on film.
Yeah, I'm like.
Does on the regular. It does seem like, and she talked about at the end, how Coach Stephanie White has also talked, those risky passes, the 10 turnovers in a game.
And everyone is watching closely for the next bit of news, wondering if that no timetable changes, or if it eventually turns into something much worse. If Clark isn't back at full strength, the WNBA's rise could hit a wall fast. This season's momentum was built around her, and without those highlight plays and sellout crowds, the league has to fight twice as hard to keep people watching. The next few weeks are huge. You'll see if the Fever adjust their game plan and if the WNBA can find other stars to carry tea.